I didn't believe the stories when I took the job. Go for a seasonal lake retreat, off-season November to March. Quiet, isolated, just me, the wind, and the water. The owner was upfront about the place. Locals say it's haunted, she said, laughing, like it was a joke she'd told a dozen times. But people say dumb things when they drink too much by the fire. I nodded. Sure, I can handle dumb things, especially if they come with a paycheck. The property was remote, tucked about 6 miles past the last gas station, down a narrowing gravel road that looked more like a deer trail in some parts. 8 cabins in a horseshoe layout, all empty. A main lodge with a kitchen and a fireplace. One long dock that jutted out into the lake like a splintered finger. The place was old, but maintained well enough. A little mold in one of the bathrooms. Water had to be run regularly, or the pipes froze. My tasks were simple: inspect, maintain, lock up, repeat. Make sure nobody tried to break in or squat. Pretty easy. No guests, no coworkers, no real supervision. It snowed the first night I arrived. Thick snowflakes drifted down for hours, turning the lake into a flat white sheet. The quiet was deeper than I expected. Not peaceful, hollow, like someone had pressed mute on the world. I figured I'd adjust. By the third night, I hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a time. Not because I was scared. I kept telling myself that I wasn't scared. I'd stayed in worse places, cities with sirens all night, and walls that shook when buses passed. But this was a different kind of noise, or lack of it. The silence felt strange, like it wasn't empty, just too silent. No crickets, no birds, no trees rustling, just a low pressure in my ears, like being underwater. That kind of silence that builds its own sound, static-like, but constant. I started playing YouTube videos at night. City ambience, rainfall, even traffic noise, just to feel something familiar, just to break up that awful stillness. It didn't help much. On the 4th night, I heard it. It was just past midnight. I was on the couch in the lodge, wrapped in a blanket, reading something mindless, a detective novel I'd brought to pass time. The heater clicked softly behind me. I remember flipping a page and suddenly stopping cold. I heard splashing, not gentle lapping waves, not wind, big splashes, heavy, like someone had run down the dock and jumped in. Then a scream, short, 2 seconds maybe, human, sharp, panicked, not like someone startled, like someone in full-blown terror. It hit that frequency where it sticks to the inside of your skull and doesn't let go. Then water again, a harder splash, then silence. I froze, just sat there, blinking, listening, hoping I misheard it. I wanted to believe it was an animal, a deer maybe, or a fox, something slipping on ice, but I was already standing. My hand was already reaching for my coat. The air outside was brutal, sharp and metallic in my nose, like biting down on tin foil, the kind of cold that burns. Snow had stopped falling, and the sky had cleared, black and cloudless above the trees. I made my way toward the dock, flashlight in one hand, phone in the other. I kept scanning the water, the shore, the tree line. What if someone fell in? What if they came here to die? What if I found a body floating in the lake? I stepped onto the dock and looked out. Nothing. The lake was completely still, not a ripple, not a breeze, just this enormous flat black silence. I stood there longer than I needed to, my breath fogged in the beam of the flashlight, which kept flickering. I felt exposed, like something might reach up from under the water or come crawling out from the tree line. Nothing happened. Eventually, I told myself it had to be some echo. Sound bouncing off the mountains or drifting from miles away. Sound travels weird over water. That's a thing, right? I headed back inside and locked the door. The next morning, I checked the dock again. No footprints, just mine. The snow around the edge was smooth and untouched. I told myself it was the wind again, or maybe ice shifting, Or just a dream? A half-sleep thing? My brain playing tricks? That night, I made dinner. A simple one. Canned soup, some bread, hot tea. The quiet pressed in again. And then the scream came back. This time, longer. 4 seconds. I stopped mid-bite and just stood in the kitchen. I was having my dinner, staring out the dark window. But I didn't go out again. I sat back down and ate in silence. The next day, I messaged the owner. I emailed her and asked if she had cameras installed. She said yes, so I asked her to send me the footage from those nights. When I watched it, there was nothing. Just empty darkness. No splash, no figure, no sign of anything unusual. But I heard it. I know what I heard. I kept watching, hoping to catch something, trying to catch the tiniest flicker, hoping I missed something, anything. But there was no proof, just silence that felt like mockery. By the 6th night, it had changed. No more splashing, just the scream. Always the same pitch, same timing, somewhere between 12 and 2 in the morning. The sound always from the direction of the dock. I stopped sleeping completely. On the 9th night, I sat up waiting for it. By the 10th, I didn't even need a clock. My body knew. I would sit up in bed, heart already pounding, hands sweaty, and like clockwork, it would come. Always just once, always from the lake. And I never moved. On the 12th night, something was different. It didn't stop. The scream came again, and again, layered, overlapping. It wasn't just one voice anymore. It was many. They came in waves, sharp this time, like a group of people drowning and calling for help. I jumped to my feet, reached for the flashlight. Nothing. Battery, dead. I grabbed my phone, switched on the flashlight. Weak, but it would do. I stepped out into the snow. Each crunch under my boots felt like a gunshot. The air was dry and biting. My breath came fast. I tried to call out, "Anybody out there?" The screams had stopped, and I couldn't help thinking, if someone really needed help, why wouldn't they come out? Why stay hidden? It didn't make sense. Unless it wasn't someone at all. Maybe it wasn't human. I didn't know what to think anymore. I was stuck somewhere between concern and fear, trying to make sense of something that refused to make sense. I walked toward the dock, heart punching against my ribs, the beam of my phone shaking as I swept it side to side. And then I saw it, just before I turned back to head to my cabin. There was something, but not in the water. At the edge of the woods, past the dock, beyond the last cabin, something stood between the trees. Dark, still, not moving. It didn't lurch forward. It didn't disappear. It just stood there, as if it had been waiting. It was just watching me. That's when I ran. I ran as fast as I could. Back inside, I slammed the door, curled under the blanket, knees to my chest. I didn't sleep. I grabbed the knife, anything sharp I could find around me. I didn't move. I waited for daylight. The next morning, I decided to leave. The snow was waist deep. My car wouldn't start. The battery was dead. No signal, just static. I packed my things anyway. I couldn't stay. I shoveled for hours, cleared a path until my arms ached. By late afternoon, I got the car running after several tries. The engine wheezed like it didn't want to go. As I drove away, I kept looking in the rearview mirror. The lake vanished behind the trees. I didn't look back again, but I kept thinking about the screams, about the figure, about what might have been calling me. In all those nights, were they people, ghosts, or were they just echoes from something long gone, something no longer human? I didn't believe ghosts exist. I don't know, and I don't want to. But yeah, some things you see, or hear, they leave something in you, a stain, a mark you carry. No matter how far I drove that day, that sound, that night, stays with me.